Hey guys, Mango7Roll here. How we doing today? Today we are going through wind monsters that I have, how I've ruined them, what I've used them for, and all that sort of thing. I have done the fire and the water already. I'll leave them in the description. And I will do the light and the dark soon, and I'll put them both in one video just because there's not enough to go through. So let's get right into it here. First off, I want to say I don't like wind monsters too much. They're my least used, and outside of a few obvious ones, I just don't use them too much. I find when I'm faced with a water problem, instead of using a wind monster, I just bring water monsters because my water monsters are generally better. So anyway, let's get into it here. My first ever wind 6-star is... and the cool part is, these are all laid out in order of when I obtained them, so it's really neat to see my progress throughout the years. The first ever one was Shannon. I do not use her anymore, and I have not used her for a long time. I would build her Swift Speed HP or Speed Defense HP or something like that. She's max skilled, and I used her primarily for TOA Hard and Giants to start off with. I think there's a ton of better options now, so I would keep her at 5-star now. If you even build her at all, I'm not sure what the starting options are anymore. But again, I don't use her anymore. She was very, very vital for me for my first ever TOA Hard and TOA Normal clear. And that's why I 6-starred her. I needed her 6-star for those floors. I didn't have her 6-star for Giants. We have Bernard here. Those are his stats. Obviously, Swift, Speed, doesn't matter what else. I say it doesn't matter what else, but I switched these two runes. I used to have attack, or crit rate attack or something like that, and it was a monster before. But I switched these up because I could get about 7 more speed, and I honestly might go back. I might slow my Bernard down 7 speed just so he does a ton of damage. It's so frustrating now. He used to finish everything off and do like 15k crits, and now he just doesn't do anything but he tanks. But tanking's not too important because 90% of the time the Rakan just hits your Lucian anyway. So yeah, also I cannot get any gems or runes for this rune just whatsoever. I've been trying for a month straight. I cannot get a speed rune for this, not even a +2 one. It is the most frustrating thing in the world, especially since going from 299 or 299 to like 305 is such a huge difference, or 304 is such a huge difference. I've used them basically everywhere, and you should too. If you haven't 6-starred them, get on it. And we have Chasen here, one of my first ever 6-stars and one of my first ever Devamon usage. I don't use her too much anymore. Her runes aren't the greatest. I found the second I got Praha, I gave Chasen's rune to a different violent user since I found myself using Praha all the time. Again, that fields in with my love of Praha and my love of water monsters. So I would build her Speed HP or Speed HP Defense or HP. It all depends on your rune set, how far you are into the game, whether you raid frontlining, that sort of thing, whether you're using her in your Guild War defense. Her runes are there, max skill of course. Again, she's not the best right now. She's still really solid, but she still does get wrecked by Theomars, and I just don't use her as much, but I used her all throughout my career. I used her in my first Dragons team. Yes Dragons, my first Giants team, my first TOA clears, my first everything. Such a staple monster for me. And we have Immensity. He's one I 6-starred a couple months ago, and he is just phenomenal. One of my favorite 6-stars I've done, and one of my most commonly used wind monsters at this point. I use him in conjunction with Copper and Feng Yan, basically. Just an all-star in Guild War, an all-star in RTA. I would build him Speed HP, or speed, as much speed as you can. Defense works too. Just like Bernard. Again, if you don't have him built, you really should. He was really, really surprised me. I thought I would only ever use him with Copper and that's it, but I find myself using him without him a lot too. Just a fantastic monster. His skill set's awesome. Especially when he's really fast. We have Mav, my absolute all-star of a TOA monster. Again, this is another one. If you have not 6-starred your Mav, 6-star him right away. It'll increase your potency of your TOA runs by infinite, basically. He's the best TOA monster. I can't get over how good he is. I use him in every single team I'm in. He never leaves. I use him over Verd too as well. Those are his stats. I would build him speed, HP, probably, try to get his accuracy up, try to get his HP up, and the absolute most important part about Mav is you want him in line with all your other monsters. So you want your Beretta to go, your Basalt, your Veramos, your Bella, your Spectra, your whatever else you have, and then right after they're all done, you want Mav to go, so you can use all your big skills and then reset cooldowns with Mav. Just a phenomenal unit. One of the best 3-star additions they could have made, and I love his skill set. His Provoke is just invaluable as well. And we have Briand. He's really fallen off right now. I don't use him too much, just for some TOA autos. His runes aren't even upgraded. He just kind of has leftovers. He used to have one of my best rune sets, my best Despair set, actually, until Praha stole it. And until we lost Hall of Heroes. Once we lose Hall of Heroes, you just kind of lose a lot of potential for your monsters, and this is one of the ones that just lost it for me. I still use him for TOA hard. That's why his runes are so bad. I don't mess with my TOA hard runes. And he works just well. I like him on Despair Revenge, or Despair Will, or Despair anything. Just gotta have him on Despair. And we have Teshar here. And now we have Teshar here, tied with my most disappointing Nat 5 outside of my Sigmarus that I pulled. Don't get me wrong, he's absolutely amazing, but he does nothing for you in a progression sense. He will speed up your giants, maybe depending on how many Lucians you have. He'll speed up some of your Necro runs if you have the right team. He may speed up some Rift Beasts, but overall he doesn't do anything important, and that's what I'm looking for in a Nat 5. I'll get into more of that later when we get to Lagmaron, since it's the same thing. As for what I use him for, I used him for Aiden Hell farming. He's really good for that. He's got max skills, of course. I also use them for my rifts, not like Rift Beast, the actual Rift dungeon thingies that you get XP out of. I use them for Giants sometimes. Actually, he's not in my Giants team right now, believe it or not. And some of the Elemental Rift Beasts, I forget which one, but the big hitting ones, you'll know it when you get to them. Overall, yeah, he's fantastic, but he does nothing really, especially with Lucian. That's the big problem with Wind. Why use Teshar when you have Lucian, you know? Lucian's just way better. You could use him in a cleave team too, but why would you cleave when you have Lucians? So now we have Akamamir here. And the funny part is, going into this, like I said earlier, you can see how these are based on when I obtain them. And we're like 9 monsters in, stuff I just recently 6-starred, and we haven't hit a Lucian yet. So that'll give you an idea of how long it took me to get my Lucians. So here's my Akamamir. Those are his stats. He's just in World Boss runes right now. I don't have him Devilmond just because he takes like 15 of them. It's just not worth it to me. Again, I'm sorry to echo myself so much, but again, with Lucian in the picture, there's just no reason to. I did use him extensively throughout my career. It's weird calling it a career, but I've been playing for 2 to 3 years now, so I don't know what else to call it. I used it with Soha Lead, Akamamir, Teor, and Galleon as my cleave team before I got my Lucian. The team worked really well. It got me to Guardian all the time. It lost every now and then, but overall it was really good. But Lucians are better. There's no reason for me to use it anymore. If there's a team I can't Lucian, but I think I can cleave it, I still wouldn't bother. There's just no reason to. I'll skip it. Go to the next guy. Here's my Lucian. He's missing 2 skill ups there. And as you can see, I just recently got him in the last 4 months. So it took me about 2 years to get my first Lucian. And my second one came about a week after. So it was a fantastic little week there. The amount I shot up just from these 2 Lucians, and every part of my play, from my RTA to my dungeons to my TOA clearing to my Guild Wars to everything. He sped literally everything up. Obviously, you guys know how good Lucians are. So if you have them, make sure they're built. These are his stats. And again, I go through these runes fast just because this video will be so long. Pause if you need to see them. Missing skills ups there. I'll go through my second one too. I like them on speed, crit damage, attack, but you can build them however you want depending on your monsters. Mine are tuned to go right after my Megan. Those are his stats. Ideally, they should be on Rage Will. Well, the second one should be on Rage Will for the best. The most important part is the Will, obviously. You don't want to kill a Pisama with your first one and have him stunned. Unfortunately for me, if you can see here, my Will one is actually faster than my non-Will one. So I'm an idiot there. but I don't want to change their runes. It's the perfect amount of damage they do. They're not too strong, but that's a good thing at this point in Guild War, or not in Guild War, in Arena, because then you don't proc too much Nemesis. I'm really happy with them, even though the runes aren't the greatest. Specifically, my slot 3 or my slot 5 runes are really lacking. Now we have Aquila here, another monster I don't use, but I 6-starred him just because I had all the skill ups for him. I have enough bombers to max every every element and then some. So I figured I'd do it. I haven't used them. I don't see myself using them. The only stripper I will probably use are Triton or Tiana. Otherwise, I'll just Lucian stuff. And now we have Feng Yan. Here are his runes. Outside of Lucian, my #1 game changer. It's funny, I said I didn't really like my wind monsters, but going through them now, there's some of my front line, some of my most important monsters, but they're only those monsters and the rest I don't use, so it's kind of weird that way. We have Feng Yan here. I built him HP defense instead of defense HP or triple defense, mainly since I use him as a bruiser on my AD. It holds me around the Guardian range all week, and it pushes me to about rank 1000, unfortunately, in Rush Hour, so I have to change it out there. But it is a fantastic monster. He's cheating in Guild Wars. He's really good for some Rift Beasts. Just overall cheating in Guild Wars, that's about it. He just slaughters everything in Guild Wars. He can do 3v1s, no problem. Just an absolute insane monster. I love him this build. I would not go back to defense build, and I would not take him off of Will either. Will is just so important. I had him on Destroy for a bit, but it just doesn't do enough. I had him on non-violent too, but you just need violent. Just a fantastic monster. If you get him, consider yourself lucky. One of the biggest game changers I've got. I got him the week he got nerfed. So I got him, and then I 6-starred him, and then he got nerfed the next day. So we'll skip Lucian there. And we have Syrah here, one of my most wanted monsters in the game. Here are her runes. She's on Violent Will, and she is tankier than usual. She's got about 30,000 HP, a little less than that. She's really fast. She does a ton of damage. Not as much as most people's Syrahs. She's lacking a little attack, and she's lacking accuracy too. 58, it just isn't enough for me. I miss so many Guild War videos. If you watch my Guild War videos, you can see me miss like 90% of my bombs for some reason. It's like everybody has a hidden will that I just can't see. I only use her in Guild War, really, in RTA. I don't use her in Arena Offense because I have Faye, but otherwise she'd be really good there. I've tried to bomb her, bomb AO, but again, it's just nowhere near as good as Lucian. It's slower, it's less consistent, and yeah, that's about it. Until I get Tiana, I will not use her in my AO. But the second I get Tiana, I will be buying a rune pack, or not a rune pack, a rune removal pack, and fixing my runes and doing a Tiana AO immediately with my Libli as soon as I get her going. One of my favorite monsters, and my partner got 2 of them before I got one. I was so mad at her, but it is what it is. I got her now. So happy. I love using her, but she honestly, I would win more Guild Wars without her. Let's just put it that way with her resist rate. Now we have Copper. I resisted Copper for God knows how long. Build him defense, crit damage defense. His rune set doesn't matter, but I really like Will. Guard Will probably, or Rage Will, or Rage Guard, even if you don't need the Will. The Will only matters like 1 out of every 10 fights for me, but when it matters, it really matters, and I don't need the extra boost in damage. He only does about 48k damage, which isn't enough, but it's enough to do 90% of the battles, or 95% of the battles. His runes really need an upgrade, but I don't want to change them. Too much effort to change them, basically. Again, I resisted this for so long. You should 6-star if you have them. It made my Guild War life so much easier. We have Delphoy. One of the ones I just 6-starred because I had infinite skill ups. I can 6-star every single Undying with no problem whatsoever. For skill ups, I don't use her whatsoever. I'd probably build her speed HP or speed defense or speed HP defense, something like that. Probably on a violent will or something. I'm not sure what, but she's fantastic in Guild War. She's probably good in RTA, but she's also probably good in what are they called, in raids as well. But I'm not a big fan of her just because she's wind and I have so many other options. Specifically, I have Mihail there, and I have Ellen Noah that seem to take her spot in RTA. Finally, we have Olivia here. One of the ones that everybody knows she's fantastic, but I just can't find a use for her. I find if I'm going to use Feng Yan, there's better options. I find I just have better options, I think, and I don't have the runes to give her is the problem. I feel like I'm missing out by not using her, but I like what I have already. So she's one that in a couple months of farming, I'll hopefully have runes for her. But as of now, she's just sort of sitting on the the sidelines. I did use her once, believe it or not. I sat there thinking, wow, I should really bring Lisa or Emma for this guild war because I really need the debuff removal. And I'm like, wait, why don't I just use Olivia? She fits better, and I put her in and forgot that she didn't have debuff removal, and I promptly lost. So that's my experience with good old Olivia for now. And finally, we have probably tied for my most disappointing Nat 5, which may hurt you guys to say, because he is amazing. It is Lagmaron. The problem with Lagmaron and the problem with Tashar is they're both just damage. Like, Lagmaron's a little more than just damage, but at the end of the day, he's there for damage, and you can only really use him in a spot that's there for damage. When I get a Nat 5 now, I'm hoping for something that adds something to my game. Whether it's debuff removal, whether it's buffs, whether it's attack bar boost, whether it's healing, whether it's support, whether it's defensive, whether it's being a bruiser, whether it's my arena defense, guild war defense, something like that. Legmaron does none of those things whatsoever. He's not a monkey. He's not a bruiser. He's not a Rakan. He's not a Tiana. He's not a Bastet. He's not a Desert Queen. He just does damage, and you have so many options that just do damage at this point, especially Lucian. Like, sure, you can use his third and stun stuff, or you can use Lucian and kill it. And he doesn't even really speed up my dungeons because Lucian just speeds it up more. Again, he's fantastic, absolutely amazing, but I'm sad about it because he doesn't add anything to my actual gameplay that matters to me. A couple seconds on my dungeon runs just don't matter to me at this point. There are so many more Nat 5s I would rather have, so there's that. Anyway, I would build him speed crit damage attack, or attack crit damage attack if your runes are good enough. Probably Swift or Fatal. I don't know what else you would put him, so almost definitely that other than a broken set. I don't think he needs Will, because if you're using him, you're probably speed tuning him with like Bernard Galleon, him, or something like that. So yeah, that was my Wind Monster discussion. The next up will be Light and Dark. I'm going to put them both on one video. They're not all here. They're actually, most of them are in my storage right now. It's going to be a smaller video because I know these are kind of long, but I want to go in depth as possible. That's the important part. Anyway, thank you for all the likes, comments, subscribes, that sort of thing. Let me know if you want me to go over anything else or if I missed anything. Just hit me up in the comments and I'll reply to you right away. Have a great day, guys. See you guys next time.